Everybody got your mics on?
Not now, dude.
Speak into the mic.
I know.
9.
We saying 8. We
We're
saying
saying
8:15.
8:15.
No, I'm saying if we're here by 9 o'clock, we're gonna have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I hope we'll hope we don't have to go tonight.
Okay, good. I hope not to. I hope not to.
Are you ready? Four people in person? All right. You ready? Okay, I call to order the Roseville Town Board regular meeting, August the 4th, 2020. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we're going to have a word from the pastor. If you so choose, you can say something about your church since, in this time of you back assembling and those type of things. Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I'm Charlie Hatcher. I'm the pastor of New Baptist Church, and we're sure grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the community. We're praying for y'all in a special way. So I guess we're going to open in prayer if we could. Father, thank you again for the opportunity, Lord, that we have to just come before your presence. We're grateful that you hear and answer prayer. And Lord, we're certainly grateful for each of these folks and just the blessing that they are to our town. And we pray that you continue to bless them, that you give them wisdom. We just pray that you'll help them tonight, that you'll fill them with your spirit, and that you'll give them just great wisdom as they are making decisions and discussing matters that affect our entire town. And we thank you for this town. We do pray that you'd put your hand on it, that you'll protect it. And Lord, certainly so much sickness going on in our society, so much uncertainty and fear. And so we pray that you'll work in a special way in the lives of each and every person that's here tonight and in this board and this council. And we just pray that everything that's said and done tonight would please you and that you'll just give us strength in the days ahead and our leaders wisdom. We'll thank and praise you for what you're going to do for us things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's a very fitting prayer tonight. I feel like we were thankful last night. God was thankful to us because, some places is worse bad shape than we are today. And those tornadoes are bad things. I mean, they are, and we could have had those here too. So we're very thankful. Okay. We're a growing town, and as we grow, our staff and departments grow, and this is one time we get to see some introductions to some new people coming. So it's all yours, Chief.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Clerk, Mr. Attorney. I'm Andrew Arnold, citizens. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, Jose Luis Perez-Apodaca will be here.
Turn your mic on, please.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right. Jose Luis Perez-Apodaca will be here at the end when I give my staff report, so you'll meet him at that time.
Okay.
Currently here with us is Matthew Liggins. He's a seasoned veteran with 15 years of experience, and most of his experience is with the Wilson Police Department. Both of those gentlemen we're fortunate to have, and we're excited to get them started. And as part of our great team, they're going to do great things. Thank you, Liggins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Lieutenant Haynes. I'd like to recognize Lieutenant Haynes, who graduated from NC State University's Administrative Officer Management Program. Departments and agencies are invited to nominate candidates for admission to this program, and they are evaluated and nominated by departments and agencies. We're notified of their acceptance. Of each candidate, they're evaluated for admissions to the program based on their prior academic work, demonstrated ability to work at the highest level, equivalent to upper level undergraduate, and the candidate assignments within our organization, indicating management responsibilities or expectations. Faculty who hold the highest academic credentials at NC State are the ones who teach these courses. Lieutenant Haynes was also responsible for preparing a grant that we received approximately $3,500 that helped to absorb a large portion of our financial obligation to attend this outstanding program. Lieutenant Haynes was also recognized by Dr. Brunet, the director of the Leadership Initiative, for being a standout student this semester. And I joke on Richard, I said that's because he got to take it through Zoom at home. But
Maybe.
he didn't have the, maybe he did or maybe he didn't, the same stressors. But I just want to congratulate him on his accomplishment and thank him for being a positive representation to our organization, commensurate to our core values. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Chief. Thank y'all. Appreciate the opportunity.
And I'll be back later with our staff report and Jose Perez-Apodaca there, Mayor. Say that 3 times. Thank you.
Thank you, Orlando. Okay, at this point, I asked the board to review the agenda and let me know if you need any additions or changes. If not, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve agenda.
I got a motion?
Oh, second, is that for the consent agenda?
No, this is just item 4 for the regular agenda.
Oh, second.
Item 5, actually, it's item 5. I got a motion, second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, appreciate that, board. Okay, next item, we have the public invited. We invite them to be heard tonight. If I understand, Madam Clerk, there is 4 people wishing to speak here. Can you ask them to come in, please? Okay.
I heard there was a delay, by the way. Somebody said that the planning board. Just by a couple of minutes. I think Julie said it. Huh? She said it was a delay.
Yes.
Hey, how are we doing?
Great.
My name is Curtis Rorick, and I live at 3624 Nether Ridge Road. And I would like to speak this evening on concern over the dense rate of growth along Roseville Road. The Point, which has already been approved neighborhood, has 951 single-family dwellings and townhomes. And Kalis Falls, already approved neighborhood, will bring an additional 550 single-family dwellings and townhomes. That total of 1,501 dwellings along a 2-mile stretch of a 2-lane road is pretty dense. This will equate to 3,812 people, and that's based on the national average of 2.54 people per household. Wake County shows statistics of 1.9 vehicles on average per household, and using those standards, 2,852 additional vehicles should be expected in that area at least twice a day, both rush hours. Being so conveniently located to it, I would assume that most vehicles from these neighborhoods would take advantage of the bypass to come and go during the approximately 90-minute rush hour periods twice a day. That means we should expect 32 vehicles per minute to perform a U-turn in the middle of bypass during rush hour. That's less than 1 vehicle every 2 seconds, which we all know is not possible. That is an extra 32 cars. Add that to the existing users that already use that bypass and perform that U-turn daily. This does not include the newest proposal of the Wheeler-Fowler proposed development. This proposal would bring an additional 350 lots, which brings the new proposed totals to 1,851 lots, 4,702 people, 3,517 cars based on the 1.9%, 39 additional cars per minute performing U-turns on the bypass, and 4,702 people, which equates to approximately a 55% increase of the town's population on a 2-mile stretch of road. I am aware that developers of these neighborhoods like to sugarcoat these situations by stating the first thing they will do to improve the roads is to improve the roads for the neighborhoods. But what they mean is they're going to provide turning lanes to those neighborhoods, but nothing more. We will need to wait 5 more years for the construction to be completed. Then DOT is going to realize there's a problem. They're going to spend a year on studying and planning, and then another 2 years on construction to improve those locations. It seems a bridge or an overpass at Roseville Road and the bypass would be in order with the volume of vehicles coming to this section of town. I would also assume that an intersection of Mitchell Mill and Roseville Road would be a more perpendicular intersection with traffic lights and turn lanes. In conclusion, I would like to ask the board to tap the brakes on the dense growth. Allow the density that has already been approved to be constructed, to be evaluated, and to be accommodated before considering additional neighborhoods requesting to be rezoned. It is easy to say growth is good, and I personally want growth, but this is too much, too fast, and we will be playing catch up for a decade. The planning board seems to be saying yes to everything and passing it on. Have they turned a request down? This board is what controls what gets built in this town. This board decides on our town's density, culture, demographic, accommodations, venues, etc. We badly need additional commercial in this town. If someone doesn't buy these areas to construct the dense development, someone else will, and will do so under the current zoning area. We just need to be patient. Thank you guys, each and every one of you, for all of your service. And after watching the past few board meetings, it shows that each and every one of you care about what's in the best interest of our town and its residents, and trust that you will make the right decisions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was your name? I missed your name.
Curtis Rorick.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Curtis.
See, I told you it's a delay.
Is it Warwick or Rorick?
Bruick.
That was Rory.
Hey, I'm Michelle Rorick.
Okay.
Would you spell your last name?
Roerick. I'm married to that man.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm here to talk about the same thing, the text amendment you guys are putting forward today. I want to say that how cool is it that we live in a town where we pray before, that you guys pray before you start that meeting. So, like, it's just super cool to live in the town that does that. I want to say great job to Sheila Sutton. I watched the July 24th working session, and I feel like I was in this room because I would have asked every single question you asked. It was probably all the questions that everyone in this room had on their mind too, maybe just afraid to ask. And you were doing the town of Roseville very proud, and we are thankful to have you and all of you others. But I'm just saying, she's not afraid to ask any questions. Okay. All right. So I'm here to talk about the text amendment because this is public and I can say whatever I want to right now. Okay. So if I'm looking at the proposed text amendment, I'd like to call out real quick that we just marked out these 20 acres for these townhomes and apartment buildings. We just marked it out. The planning department didn't call it out in their review of suggestions, said, yes, we approve this. They didn't compare that to other UDOs of other towns. We just marked it out. I watched the planning department. I don't even think they talked about it. It's like we just marked that out of the UDO and nobody is just going to talk about that at all. So that's a huge concern, guys. And I sent an email. I mean, that means if something's R3, we can have 100 acres with apartments on it. Sky's the limit, right? Okay, so my next item is, I'm going through that text amendment request, and I get to the next part where they're gonna add the single family homes. And I'm looking, and it has the minimum lot widths, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking for the rest, and there's nothing there. There are no design standards. There's no encroachment requirements. There is nothing, right? So again, sky's the limit, right? I mean, if you look at the rest of our UDO, which honestly is not that in depth, right? Because you guys somebody's gonna work on it. But there's nothing here, okay? So there's no requirements of anything if you're gonna build that type of structure in an R3. Nothing. Sky's the limit. Okay? Pools in the front yard. If you want it, you got it, baby. All right. Okay, so also, we should really look at the maximum density of what we have in here. Okay? So what they've proposed in here is even greater than what Raleigh and Cary have. Okay? We're Whittle Bitty Woseville, and we're gonna have a greater density for this population than Raleigh and Cary. So that's a concern. All right. Okay, so now let's look at the purpose of this text amendment being submitted, right? Who submitted it? A developer submitted it, and what they want to do is they want to build a huge high-density population community way out. Like it's not even on, it's on Roseville's future city, whatever, right? So that area that they want to build it on is in Roseville's comprehensive plan, and it is considered to be it's planned to be a medium density residential, okay? So that means we are at 3 to 5 dwellings units per acre, gross acre. I'm telling you, we've had several meetings of the folks that live out here. Not a lot of people that live out there because it's really low density right now. But the people around there, we're okay with this medium density. We're okay with this. So we're happy with Roseville's comprehensive plan for that area. But what this text amendment is being submitted for is it's not in compliance with, the further documents that are coming to you, if we push this guy along, is not going to be in line with Roseville's comprehensive plan. Okay. All right, so we have a gap in the UDO and the comprehensive plan. Y'all said on the July 24th, there's a problem where a developer just can't come in and submit something for less than 20,000 square feet, right, or 15, whatever. And you guys kept bringing up the 10,000 square feet, right? Kept bringing it up. So we don't like the 6,000. Amen? So to me, it sounds like we just need to get an R10. Somebody needs to submit an amendment change for something, and let's call it R10, right? Where we copy everything from R1 and R2, all the design standards and everything, and we make us something in the UDO that's something that our town, you guys are actually looking for, not this text amendment. So, and really, I would, it is my plan to actually do that in the next 2 weeks. I really wanted to do it before tonight, but life got in the way, and they told me my children couldn't go to school, so they're going to be virtual. So anyway, so in the next 2 weeks, I will be submitting a text amendment for the town of Roseville to be much like the R1 and R2 is, with all of their design standards, be it not what you guys are going to look for the future for the entire rewrite. But I'm going to be submitting that in the next 2 weeks. So so just be sure something is coming to the path where there is going to be something coming through your table that's going to fill that gap in the UDO and the current comprehensive plan of where our problems are right now. All right, y'all have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
And there's now 6 people talking, not just 4. Thanks.
There are 6?
That was 6 minutes.
State your name and address, please.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to remind you also, you're limited to 3 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. My name's Ron Applin. I live at 1125 Mackinac Drive, in Wake Forest, in the Stonewater community. We have an opportunity tonight as part of Roseville's plan, right? Our offering as a community is to really focus on community base. And in our community, we've met with town manager, Mr. Arnold, and Chief Soto. And in this evening's attachment, you'll find that on page 5, there is a discussion around golf cart usage. And so from our standpoint, we are proposing to create a street use process. Not a street legal because of VIN, license plate, highway use tax. It's really one of focus within the community, not for the entire town, right? Because we don't have access to the entire town. In our community, we would actually have to leave, go onto Forestville Road to move into Wake Forest, which they actually don't allow golf carts. And so from our standpoint, we're here to ask you for consideration for a working relationship to develop something for our children. My oldest daughter, just completed virtual driver's ed. This is one of those times that I'll share my age a bit, but I remember in high school, you took driver's ed and you actually drove while you were in school. Nowadays, I'm worried about what we're able to teach in terms of safe driving. Our opportunity is within our community is to create a working relationship with the town to set up a model for the future, one that really serves to be value added, so that as Roseville grows, other communities and those that actually attach to the downtown area can take advantage of those opportunities as they arise. So in conclusion, we would like to propose as a community for you to consider an opportunity to develop a working relationship so that we can create the proper guidance that allows our community to take advantage of what we would consider to be street use, not street legal.
Right. Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Who's keeping track of the time?
It is a little delay.
Nobody? Just.
I did.
Oh, that was that little noise? The little noise we heard?
Hey, Gail, if you would state your name and address.
Okay.
And just reminder, it's a 3-minute limit.
Okay, all
Thank
right,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to
say a few words here. My name is Gail Stallings, and my address is 1512 Rollsville Road, Wake Forest. I just want to reiterate, and I'm actually here just to just speak about the UDO, the TA 20-1. I just want to reiterate, we, meaning me, my family, our community members, we're not opposed to development. Absolutely, we're not opposed. What we are opposed to is the request to rezone to R30, which will bring about a higher density for the Valor Wheeler property. And we also feel that this is not, the development that they are proposing is not congruous with the adjoining property, nor with other communities in our area. And I know you've heard all this tonight about the number of units, but I just want to repeat it again so you can really understand where we're coming from. So we have the Point at 951 units. We have Kalis Falls at 550. All of this is on like a 1 to 2.5 mile stretch of road on Roseville Road. We also have Roseville High School, which I know right now school is not in session. However, it will come back, to where the kids are back in school. We also have another piece of property that's just a few tenths of a mile south of Roseville High School that is in the works, from what we understand, for an athletic complex. So now, we're looking at that thrown into the mix. So if this Valor Wheeler property is approved at this rezoning they're requesting with the 335 units, so in 5/10 of a mile, we're looking with Kalis Falls and this 885 units. So I want you guys to really let that sink in. For us folks that live out there, when we take that and we put the other developments and the other things that are coming, it's just going to be too much. It's just going to be massive. And it's going to be really difficult for us to go about our daily lives. I'm already having trouble getting out of my driveway now and going to my mailbox. But I do want you all to know that, we are not opposed to development, absolutely not. If the development can be kept like what we have in our surrounding, touching, adjoining properties, we have no problem with that. And I just want to thank you for all that you guys do, and thank you for allowing me to express my opinion and concerns.
Right. Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that.
I thought time was up.
If you would, state your name, address, and just a reminder, 3-minute limit.
My name is Matthew Jones. I live at 3532 Nether Ridge Road in Zebulon, same neighborhood as everybody else with the UDO text amendment. I'm going to keep this really short because I know you guys have heard probably everything and gotten plenty of emails. But I just want to say I'm a lifelong resident of Roseville, involved in church here and community, love this town. I love the way my childhood was as a small town, and I don't want to see that erased. And with the current proposed development, we're going to become Cary or Apex or one of the other towns that nobody knows anybody, nobody can get in and out of their driveways. And I just hate to see that happen to a place that I think probably many of us hold very close to our hearts as an important place. The traffic is already a problem in that area. I can tell you the city of Raleigh just widened Mitchell Mill Road. It's already full during rush hour. You can already spend multiple light cycles to get on 401 now, and it's already 5 lanes, I think, there with the turn lanes and the straight lanes. You can only do so much to a 2-lane road with stop signs and farm tractors going down it with this kind of development going around. So again, I just want the town to, I appreciate everything you guys do. I want you to, I heard a lot of stuff that I love to hear the other day on the 24th. Let's focus on commercial development. Let's focus on being able to keep the money in Roseville, go out to eat in Roseville, shop in Roseville. Because right now everybody drives to Raleigh. They all get in the same traffic and they drive to Raleigh, or they drive to Wake Forest, or they drive to Nightdale. I hate driving those places. I want to spend my money here, but I can't do that if that commercial development's not here, if all we're doing is putting more houses for everybody to drive somewhere else. So I like that plan that you guys have, and that's all I hear from all my fellow community members. Let's get the restaurants, let's get the shops, let's get those things here, And then, people from Wake Forest and Nightdale will come here and other places and stop fighting their traffic over there. So I just want to make that, I will point out the high school being there, that can't be overlooked. We all know nobody wants to sit through school drop-off in the morning, school buses, teenage drivers. That's going to be a bottleneck, and it all leads to one place, Neuse River, 401 bottleneck. It's going to happen. It happens now. Add 2,000 plus more houses to that. It can only get worse. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And you'll be, I'm sure, hearing from all of us again before this is all over.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Hello, my name is Lee Jones. I live at 3533 Nether Ridge Road. That was my brother and my neighbor. I will make this very short and sweet. As my brother said, we've grown up in this area. It's a great place to live, but I'm greatly concerned that we're growing too much, too fast. That's a lot of houses in a 2-mile stretch, ladies and gentlemen, and these people have to go somewhere. Think of a funnel. It all flows great in the top, but eventually it gets smaller and smaller. And that's your route to Raleigh, is 401 and Capitol Boulevard. Those are the small parts of the funnel. And eventually it's going to stop. I work 20 minutes away on a good day. I have already had 2 instances where it has taken me over an hour and 10 minutes to get to work. This is after the improvements on Mitchell Mill Road. So tell me, what is it going to be like when we have 1,800 more homes in this area? Please tell me, where are these people going to go? How are we going to get to work and make a living and support our families? So I want you to please consider that. This is very, very important, and it affects thousands of people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for coming out. Okay, I think that was the last one there that's here in public, in person, in public. So do we have some comments from that was sent in from the public comment list? Okay, would you mind reading those into record, Madam?
I will read these verbatim and in the order that we received them. The first public comment comes to us from Anthony and Kathleen Trabuco, 3500 Tavis Wood Way, Wake Forest. And the comment is, we are against UDO text amendment TA 20-R3 zoning district with regard to the Fowler Wheeler property. Thank you. The next comment comes to us from Denise Stevens, 3405 German Shepherd Trail, Wake Forest. And the comment is, I am begging you to please not allow this development to continue. I feel that with the neighborhoods that have been allowed already, the town of Rolesville is not considering the effect it is going to have on our roads, like Rolesville Road, Mitchell Mill Road, or 401 going into Raleigh, grocery stores, post office, gas stations, etc. If anything needs to be approved, is sticking to the current plans for more commercial development and put a stop to the high-density residential communities. Since I have lived here most of my life, 52, will you please take consideration from someone that has been here and seen positive changes as well as misinformed changes and the results from it. Just wait and see what damages are going to be done with the already approved developments. Address the issues we will be faced with, and then if the roads and commercial business can handle more, so be it. And the last comment comes to us from Regina Hakes, 6300 Mitchell Mill Road, Zebulon. And the comment is as follows. This is regarding the proposed Fowler-Wheeler property. My husband and I are 100% against any high-density development. Almost 100% of all homes in this area are on a minimum of half-acre lots, and most are on larger tracts. We have 6 acres to small farms. High-density housing will not fit with the neighborhood, nor can the infrastructure of Mitchell Mill or Roseville Road support the amount of added traffic from all the building going in this corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, that closes our public comment session. Next item on the agenda is the Town Board Liaison reports. First one, Planning Board, Commissioner Medley. You have anything to report?
It was a very quick meeting, and I know this is something we're going to get into later, but I think it was in regards, what was it, the preserve maybe? There was something that had to be written where they take out the, what was it, the fee in lieu of. Can you explain that a little bit more for that property? I know it needed to be removed in order for that, for them to continue in talks. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. All the time, right? Were you able to hear what I was talking about? There was something that they were requesting a fee in lieu of something be removed from the record.
Madam Commissioner, I was not at the planning board meeting.
Or not, but I thought maybe you may have known about it.
So I
Okay.
don't know what the topic was.
Ellie, are you familiar with it?
To be versed today.
Okay, yeah, good. That was really it. It was a short meeting. That was the only thing they had on their mind, on their agenda at that time. And then, as you know, one of the members of that advisory board is moving, so she had to step away from her position.
I did see that, so we probably need to maybe advertise that or get something out on that.
So yeah, that was really it for that meeting.
And you said a preserve?
I think it was a preserve, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But there was something in there where they couldn't keep that in fee. They had to remove the fee in lieu of in order to move forward what they were trying to do. But it's going to come back to the board later, and then that's when the talks will commence.
Okay.
So it was only like a 2-minute conversation, so.
Okay, thank you. Parks and Rec, Commissioner Bilgan.
Yeah, we met on the 22nd. Their main business they had was there was an update for Carlton Point Greenway. They were just showing basically where they're going to put that greenway now. The OSAG gave a presentation regarding their greenways and their priorities through town. They had a top 9 list that they showed us maps of and showed what they proposed for those different positions. They're also working with a greenway RFP to get an updated study for that for our greenways. And there was also a request for a new subcommittee to be started for events and arts to kind of expand Parks and Rec. So they're looking to do that as well at their next meeting. And they discussed the development agreement with Cobblestone. And that's all I have.
What was the discussion with Cobblestone?
They were just reviewing that in general, the development agreement. What we had discussed previously, they were just reviewing it with them as well.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Economic Development, Commissioner Sutton.
Yes. So generally, I think once a month, Michael, Rachel, the Chamber President, Economic Development Director, Michael, and I meet once a month. And this month we were not able to meet, which would have been yesterday. But we did talk. I've talked with both of them, and we'll continue to have those meetings. It's a good connection, which is called our core team, for those of you that may not have known. But my focus continues to be, and I keep stressing this to everyone, is a focus on enhancing and retaining the current businesses that are in Roseville, in addition to bringing new businesses to Roseville. So I'm laser focused on making sure that those businesses get the resources that they need to be successful here in Roseville. So some interesting facts that I wanted to share. Michael and I have worked, well, Michael has worked on figuring out which businesses, I asked, which businesses do we have in Roseville? Did you all know that we have 93 brick and mortar businesses in Roseville? I did not know that. So that's good to know. And there's a lot of home-based businesses. We're trying to figure those out, but those are a lot harder to capture.
They are.
But knowing that we have 93 is pretty good, that we have 93. 64 of our businesses are chamber members. Now, that said, some of those are brick and mortar and some of those may be home-based. We're still looking at that list. Another interesting component was the PPP loans that Michael mentioned last time. This was really interesting to me because I didn't know this, and this is our taxpayer dollars, so I'm going to just share this. 86 businesses in Roseville received PPP loans up to like $150,000. Now, when I say 86 businesses in Roseville, you can be an owner of a business and live in Roseville, and you get a loan, but your business is not in Roseville. So let's keep that in mind.
So it's the owners.
It's the owner of the business. So the owner could live here and have a business somewhere else.
Right.
So they were able to get loans. 5 businesses, and I think Michael mentioned this last time, got PPP loans of $350,000. 2 of those particular businesses are not located here in Roseville. The owner lives here. And then this was another interesting component that I was shocked by. Churches were included in that, and Wake EMS was also included in that. So anyway, those were interesting facts to me. I didn't know that, and since those are our taxpayer dollars, economically, I just wanted to share that information.
That's
And
good
I think
information.
Michael will talk about it more in his update.
That's good information. Thank you, Commissioner.
And Sheila, adding to yours, Michael and I have tried twice now with IRS to get this, and they put us on hold and they leave us. And we wait and we wait and we wait, and then we just get frustrated and hang up. But we're still trying.
Talking about REDAC. We're
REDAC
still
to
trying
get
connect with
the
IRS, and it has
501c3.
It's been a chore.
It's
Trying to get it in writing, just to.
So you're trying to do a change?
No, we're trying to. Yes, the bottom line is that.
I've heard a lot of times it's easier not to do the change, just get a new one.
So what we're trying to do is, because Jackie is one of the legacy officers, he just has to say, hey, I give them permission to elect new officers.
Right.
That's really all we need. And they told us last time we
can
could do that.
Yeah.
And then they disappeared with COVID, so it's a little different,
Yeah.
I guess, with their staffing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie, for your continued effort.
Okay. Public safety report, anything to report, Commissioner Wilson?
We have not met since the last meeting. We meet next Monday night. The only thing that we know that we got approval, or because of the cost sharing, is that we are replacing a 22-year-old truck, fire truck, that we've got everything moving on. But that's pretty much it. I understand that Amy is working with getting us more bids on the consulting, and I talked to Chief Privet this afternoon, and I think she did find another group. I don't know if they're interested in bidding on it or not, but it's just not that many out there. But you already know that. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, I had heard on, I guess, the mayor's meeting that really nothing's been said about EMS and what direction they're going to go with that, with Wake County, anything.
I do not have an update on that. The last I had heard that they put up a lot of opposition to it, and that Wake County had backed away. Now, I don't know if that's changed or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I talked to Garland yesterday, and he didn't mention it.
I don't think it's a dead issue, though.
No, I don't think it is either.
Probably need to kind of keep an eye on that one.
Okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. What is the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Unanimous. Thank you very much. And we have 2 items of business tonight. The first one is determining the setting of a public hearing for Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment 20-01, R3 zoning district, add single-family dwellings units as permitted usage. I know we did conduct a workshop a few weeks ago where each of you had a chance to get your questions answered and kind of a better understanding. And typically next stage we would move into a public hearing. So what I would do is just ask the board what is your wishes for this item.
And I just want to add, the public hearing would just be for the public to come, give their input for that, and it's not a complete, we're not doing a decision tonight, is what I want to say.
No.
Yeah, this is just to set up a public meeting for the public to come, give input, let us know what they think about this.
And as we've seen, the public wants to comment.
Right.
So, I think it will be a turnout for it. So, I think sometimes, I think the public is confused about, that we have to adopt or either deny what the developer proposed, and that's just a proposal. I mean, the board here has all the authority, in my understanding. Once you listen to the public hearing, you can adopt and make changes however you see fit. So that's, Paul, is kind of when we will kind of hash through that and see if we want to adopt it at all, or if we want to adopt something, it could look a little different from what's being proposed. So I'll open up to the board if I hear something.
I'm not opposed to a public hearing, but Commissioner Medley brought up a good point last time when she said about the planning board didn't have the information that we had from the work session we did on the 24th. That stuck with me. And to hear the comments that we heard tonight about our planning board just pushing things through, and then I heard that there was a couple of objections in the planning board, and then it got to push it. I'm concerned. Whenever I hear that there's somebody that objects and then maybe somebody convinces them to move forward, I want to know what those objections are. So I'm not opposed to a public hearing, but is there any way the planning board could get this information before we do the public hearing? I don't know how that works. But
I guess we could share, what, I don't know if they've been paying attention to what's been said or not.
And I want to know what the objections were from the folks that did object on the planning board.
Yeah.
Is that recorded? I don't know.
Yeah, and we, actually, when we have the public hearing, you should get an update from what the planning board said and done and all that stuff.
Including the objections.
Yeah. And we can ask it.
Who would that be coming from?
It's usually in the package we get. All those details in the package.
I don't ever remember seeing any or they always said they either passed it and recommended it or they don't. And I'm like Sheila, if you've got, 5 or 7 members on the planning board?
More than that,
There's 7 of them. There's 7 of them,
7.
and the first one to object to it or to question it was a firefighter.
Well, that's, also the minutes is there for us to review if we want to, but we can request to have the planning board minutes put in.
But let me clarify what my concern is. If that person had an objection and the work session that we had on the 24th answered some of those questions, that's why I'm saying they should be privy to that information too. Do you see what I'm saying? So if they were like, well, what happens with this? And maybe those were answered I don't know. So I don't know what the objection was. I've never seen the objection information included in anything either. So I'm
Okay, so let me just clarify. When you say objection, there were a lot of concerns. Okay, so no one said no.
Gotcha.
But they were like, well, that's too small, or,
Gotcha.
there was safety issues that were brought up. But at the end of the day, there didn't seem like there was any grounded information for them to use, nothing that they could really use to make a better decision. I'm not saying it was a terrible decision, but I just felt that more education should have been included for them to make a more informed decision. Because what I was hearing definitely wasn't, okay, so the way it was presented to the board, I feel that if I wasn't at that meeting, I would have thought they were all 100% behind it without any doubt. That was not the case at that meeting.
Those are a planning board meeting before we would
We
schedule
just
this
had
next
one
one.
last,
Okay.
well, it all depends on when this one is going to be set up.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it will be one in August.
I think there would be one, yes.
So, I think the notes that I got from the staff and kind of looking at the agenda that we have for the future meetings, that we would look at setting ours September the 1st. So that would give them time, if they wanted to make any additional comments, to make them.
When we had our meeting, weren't they supposed to be a part of that meeting? Our
I think originally.
We
I thought
talked
they
about
were.
that, but, we,
It can be virtual.
yeah.
And we were gonna try and include them, but we didn't do virtual.
But even though we didn't do virtual, why couldn't we have had them here?
This capacity of this room is not allows it.
Okay.
So then I think that'd be, if we scheduled the public hearing for September, but also pushed it to the planning board to give us their thoughts about that before our next meeting.
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Yeah, I mean,
So when is the planning board meeting this month? Did y'all just meet yesterday?
Just met last week.
Oh, last week.
It's the last Monday or Tuesday of the month.
I thought
Should be
it-
the last Monday.
We met on the
Should be the last
27th.
Monday of the month,
Last
so
month, I know it's the last week, it's either Monday.
fourth would be-
The 31st is the last Monday of August.
Oh, that's the day
So
before.
it's probably the fourth Monday, so it'd be the 24th.
What was the 27th of this month? Yes.
So August 24th.
Yeah.
It's a Monday, last Monday.
that would give us. a
So is
week
that
then.
okay, is
That
that
would give us
okay
a
with
week
you
to
guys?
get-
Paul,
yeah.
let's go get.
Yeah, as long as they have time to
All right.
massage it, but I really would like to know if there are some concerns, what those
So
are.
wait a second.
got a
Is it the
question.
last Monday or is it the fourth Monday?
Fourth Monday.
Okay.
I've got a question, and Kelly, you may be able to help us with this. I served on the planning board before I became a commissioner back in 2004. And we had something come to us, and I didn't like it. It was development, and the board voted to recommend that we give it to the town board and request a public hearing. And I voted against that, to which, I forget his name now, it was Chairman, and he said, so, Mr. Wilson, you are voting against their right to have a public hearing in front of the town board. And I said, yes. All right. Does the planning board have the right to vote against recommending a public hearing? Because it's never happened.
They are an advisory board.
Okay.
They give you a recommendation.
Okay.
They have the right to forward you a recommendation of not to hold a public hearing if that is their choice.
Okay. I don't think it's ever happened.
Okay,
That
let me
doesn't
tell
mean
you
we don't
something.
do
I
it
don't
either.
think that they all know
Right.
that.
Exactly right, because.
Recommended.
I don't think they all know that.
Yeah, and I think you're right.
Because I'm
Is
telling
that-
you, you
is
all
that-
watched that video, it kept going back and forth around the room.
Yeah.
For clarity on this, different situations give us different results. If the issue before the planning board is something like a text change or other legislative choice, the planning board may recommend that such a proposal not receive their recommendation. They would recommend against approving it. They might recommend approving something different, or they might recommend that the board take no action. If, however, the application is something for a development or a site plan or a quasi-judicial matter or a subdivision, in those cases, the applicant may have a right to be heard by the town. And so in that case, the recommendation would be approve or deny or approve with conditions, but it would not be don't ever let this see the light of day again. That can't be the recommendation. But on a text change or a legislative matter like a zoning case, that certainly could be the case. On a comp plan amendment proposal, that could be the case. Anything that is purely within the legislative discretion of the town, that could be the case. With regard to this, just while I have the microphone, the board could set the public hearing and could direct this matter be taken up at the planning board's next regular meeting. We could also direct the staff to see about setting a special meeting if that were required. The planning board works as an advisory body to this commission, and I am certainly I've met them and they're ready to serve.
Okay, sounds good. So, do you want to present a motion or something?
And I would like to add one last clarity. If it does get sent back to the Planning Commission, and if you are interested in seeing complete minutes of that meeting, I don't think a 1 week turnaround might happen. I don't know, because they may not have the ability to turn those minutes around, review them, and such like that. So I just want to be clear and note that June 1st, they did meet on this topic June 1st. They moved their meeting out from their fourth Monday in May to June 1st because of COVID. So this topic is in your pack. You can go to the Planning Commission Board documents. June 1st was the minutes of this meeting. But if you do ask the Planning Board to consider this in the August 24th, just understand that depending on when you hold the public hearing, you may not have a complete set of minutes. We'll try, but just understand it may not be complete and or approved by the Planning Commission.
And that's fine. I know, Jackie can remember, this board has requested the chairman to come in and give us a report before.
Yes.
We used to do that really often, a lot.
That might be needed.
And, we can do that this time. We request the chairman or the second chair to come in and kind of give us a verbal report so we can ask questions if we need to, if y'all want to do that. Because before we had a planning director, the chairman of the planning board, we always ask them to kind of talk about what they talked about.
So could we submit questions to them? Like Sheila asked, what were the objections and what were the concerns? Could we submit those questions to them so whenever they need to, before the board, that they would have the answers to those specific questions that we like to have answered?
I don't think there's anything legal about that, is it?
No, if this are quasi-judicial, there's a lot of limits on what the planning board can report back to the commissioners. Because this is legislative, I will tell you that some cities have an opportunity. You have the minutes, you have the planning board's report, usually delivered by the chairman, and there is an opportunity provided to members if they wanted to provide a comment, and that is all included. Some members of a planning board might take the time to add that comment to the record, particularly if they were not on the prevailing side of the vote. And so if all you hear is, the vote was 5-2, well, you know what the 5 thought,
Right.
but the 2 may not be registered. And so imagine maybe what you've seen from the U.S. Supreme Court. Someone will write their dissent. They'll add a paragraph as to where their concerns tended to lie.
Was that meeting recorded? I know there was no one in the corner.
No, it was not recorded.
Because I was sitting back there.
It was not recorded.
Ugh,
Are they usually?
Okay.
they are now. Well, they actually, she was using a little laptop.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was talking about video recording. I apologize.
So there is audio recording of
Yes.
that meeting.
Yes.
Why don't we get that?
Well, I'd like to see their updated thoughts too.
'Cause,
Just
yeah,
with
'cause
that,
the
just
new
in case there's
information.
something they saw in our meeting, they might change their mind or.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to direct them to review that meeting. I mean, it's online, right? Our July 24th work session. That was a good information session, I thought. Have the planning board review that, and then we can get some verbal input from them, as well as any concerns that were expressed.
I agree with Sheila, and according to Kelly's memorandum dated July the 28th, this board has 5 options. Option E is the board does not set a public hearing, but remands the text amendment back to the Planning Board Commission to consider additional information that was presented in the July 24th work session, along with what was presented in the public, in my opinion, public comments tonight, and then we asked the chairman of the Planning Commission to make a presentation to the board, and that is my motion.
And they're going to do that on September 1st at the public hearing that we have.
If our schedule allows.
I second that if that's how we're gonna go. That's
So
right.
But we're not setting a public hearing.
Yeah.
No.
No,
We're
for
getting
September 1st.
additional information before we set the public hearing.
Correct.
Oh,
And I'm
I'm-
saying I second your
confused.
motion.
Okay. I'm
Why
saying,
wouldn't we do it all at one time?
Clarify that for me. Clarify that again, Jay.
all right, the options, you've got 5 options in the memorandum that Kelly sent us, dated July 28th. Option E says, the board does not set the public hearing, but remands the text amendment back to the Planning Commission to consider additional information that was presented in the July 24th work session. And I add to that, that we make the planning board aware of the public comments tonight, which, and in particular, that first person was very thorough, I think, and that needs to be considered. And then the planning board chair comes to the next meeting and gives us detailed information. At that time, we will decide whether to set a public hearing or not, because we also have an option to approve a public hearing or does not approve a public hearing, and the text amendment will not even be considered by the board. You know, so I think we ought to take option E and let the planning board director, or give it back to the planning board for them at the next meeting, and then let them come to us at our next meeting, or let the chair come to us and give us a recommendation of how the planning board responded to it.
I would do all that. I would agree with everything that. I would just set the meeting to the September 1st one and just make that as part of the public input. So everything's all together. Like
Part of the public hearing?
Yeah, because that way you have their input there, you have the public's input.
Yeah.
We're not dragging the public along.
Yeah,
Okay.
one other option, just throw it out here, we can request them to have a special meeting. So we could ask them to meet and kind of report back to, if you want to report before the public hearing for some reason, we could do
Yes,
that. Or we
we
can
would
do it
definitely-
like Paul says, is all at one time.
That way we have, I just don't want to keep dragging the public. I mean, you're going to have multiple people wanting to come and everything else to speak, and I'd rather have them have a date, and let's just get everybody's input all at once and know when it's going to be.
Got a pretty full agenda on the 18th. Do you think we can work in just to get a presentation from the planning board?
I have no guarantees they can get together between now and 18.
That's quick. That's 2 weeks.
I'd
Attorney said that they get together at our request.
That depends on their schedules.
There's a quorum or not.
But that depends on their schedules, and don't forget they're one down.
Yeah, I mean, you can request them to have a special meeting between them.
I'd push it to September.
Okay, so you want to go with Paul's option then?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so which one of you guys want to make the motion?
I think you made a motion and she seconded, is what I heard. No?
True.
I thought that's what I heard.
Now, and if it pleases the board, I'll amend it to include the public hearing.
Right.
After we see the evidence, if you'll amend your second to include that.
Okay.
But you need to set a date for the public meeting. Yeah, if we're going to include that.
So what is that, September?
September 1st.
September 1st?
September 1st.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
I'm good with that.
Yeah, September 1st, if you look at, was the future agendas, was that present, everybody get to see that? Did y'all get a copy of it?
It's here.
So September 1st is the best time that we can find to get it in there.
Okay.
Okay, so I second it based on the amended.
Based on his amendment.
We might need to clean that up just to make sure it's.
May I, just so if you don't mind, I'll try to repeat it.
Please.
The motion is to ask the planning commission to schedule this item at their next planning commission meeting, which is scheduled August 24th. And that you ask them to review the video of your work session in advance and any other public comments that may have been coming into the board in advance, and then take that information and redeliberate if need be, and then report back the chair, come to the public hearing September 1st. I would suggest it's probably your first item, a public person to come in front of you, is to do a report to the planning commission. on September 1st public hearing. Is that?
I think it could be part of the introduction that
Yeah.
that the staff does, right?
And
Yeah.
include any concerns, not just, yeah, we're for it. But
Well, and just, I do want to encourage you to go back to the minutes. There are expressed concerns noted in the minutes.
Yeah, and
From
we
June.
can question him then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so move.
So I got a motion and a second. Do I hear any other discussion? Not hearing any other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so I have a little question.
No
to
one opposed. Motion occurs.
Sorry about that,
All right.
Ronnie. I'm sorry. I know a couple of years ago we were getting a lot more training in down at Chapel Hill and other areas. What training is offered to the Planning Advisory Board? Because I feel they come in there without any, at least for the last couple of them. There's some on there that are very seasoned, but how much are they trained? I think that's probably part of the problem.
Madam Commissioner, we had a training session, a formal training session at the February meeting.
Okay,
That was
but
our
let me just
last
tell you, that
formal
was
session.
not, that meeting that we had, that training session did not touch on the items that came up in regards to this case.
I am sure that that is the case. There are many topics that we could cover in training every evening.
And just knowing what they, like the decisions that could be made, like what Jackie had stated about not approving a hearing or not allowing a hearing, I don't think anybody there knew that. Maybe they did, maybe the more seasoned guys did, but it didn't seem like that anybody knew that they could do that.
I will add that to my attorney's report for the next planning board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks for bringing it up, Michelle. Okay, item 2, discussion of Chamber of Commerce request for additional funds.
I want to make a motion.
All right.
I'm joking. Can I make my motion?
I do too, but.
Okay, I want to make a motion.
Okay.
I think the chamber does a fantastic job, and I know they'll continue to do a fantastic job. They have requested $30,000 for the fiscal year 2021 from their previous budget of $18,000. I would like to make a motion that that be for $22,000, and do I need to explain my rationale?
Yes, please.
Because I know that they are proposing a new foundation, which has not been established other than established from a governmental perspective as far as a 501c3. So I think that that needs some time. We need to build a relationship around that and see kind of how that works before we go ahead and support that in that vein. So in addition to the $22,000, I also think that we need to include a liaison to the chamber board. And I propose that I be that liaison because of the economic development relationship that I already have with the chamber, as well as that we conduct an an audit at our request with their financials, and like we do with other things, that would be included in our audit. So that is my motion.
Okay, sounds good. I hear, before we do a second, I will clarify one thing. You really don't need the liaison thing in the motion, because that's my authority. I would point that. So,
No, I'm saying-
I can do that, so you don't have to have that part of the motion.
Oh, okay, well, I was told to.
It might be clearer if it's in the MOU though, just that there
Yeah,
would be a
and
town board
we can
liaison.
clear that up, but just to.
But in the MOU, I don't think it's in the MOU.
Right.
Okay, so I know we have chamber members here, and before we take a second motion, I would like for them to speak on it, because most of the programs that they've done,
We didn't have a public hearing set up for
oh
this
my
yet.
gosh, we sure did not.
That's right.
I know, but I just think
We
that.
did that with the, the sessions and the questions and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I want
I
to
don't
speak
know.
to this and.
I just-
Wait, before discussion, we got a motion, and we need a second, or either let it die, and then we'll discuss it. So I got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Okay, so this is where I think I feel like it's a little bit backwards, because if there's no more discussion on it
It
amongst
will
us,
be. It will be.
but if a decision's already made,
You would just be doing a second just to confirm what you said, and you would discuss it. So I'm going to second it so we can discuss it.
gotcha.
So got a motion and a second. Now, is it any more discussion?
Yeah.
I just feel like they've done programs before from scratch, from the very beginning. And I know you were part of this at one time when you were with the chamber. And I just feel like their programs were a success. And they brought a lot of business to Roseville. And I think it educated a lot of people from the youth leadership program, right on up to, okay, what was that program I was a part of? Launch Roseville. Thank you. So I do feel like their programs are definitely, there's a lot of work involved. And I feel like they have the personnel to help carry these programs off. So I just feel like to say no because it's new really isn't fair to the citizens that they serve, in my opinion.
Can I speak?
So what would,
I think we
let's
all
let
need
her
to
finish
speak.
her thought first. So what would your proposal be?
I just feel like going back and forth with the chamber and the town, I just feel it was like a breakdown of communication on what they should have spoke on initially versus what they spoke on in that, in the meeting that we had, the virtual meeting. I just think things weren't clear enough at that point in time. So for me, I personally wanted to hear, because the concern was that new program that they're looking to, the what is it, Sheila? The yeah, the foundation. I just feel that more information could have been shared, but it wasn't, because I don't think that's what they were asked clearly to do. But I just feel like the programs that they started, and I know April was the one who was starting the youth leadership program, that was new, you know, and that has been a success. So I'm just saying they put a lot of time and effort, and they do seek other means of funding. But I think it's important that we give them the opportunity to do it, because otherwise, based on the email that you sent out, Kelly, and I did think about that before you sent it, some of those points, who is going to do that? You know, where are they going to get the money to do that? So, I mean, granted, they have to find a way. They have to find a way for their funding. I get that, but I just feel like it is going to benefit the town, and that should be taken into consideration.
So I guess, again, what's your proposal?
Do
though?
what,
The
though?
whole thing, or the 30,000? Is that your proposal?
Yes, that would be for me. I would say yes.
But you said to do what? You lost me when you said to do that. To do what?
I'm not really sure, but I was probably referring to the programs that they began, that their programs have been a success, and I feel that we should support them.
And
there's other ways to support them besides financially, but I think financially is what they're asking in order to get this off the ground. And I think more details need to be shared on how they plan on going about doing it. I know they're asking
What
for
off
the
the
money.
ground? You're specifically referring to the
the,
foundation?
yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sorry, the foundation.
So, you up.
Okay. First of all, the chamber has done Launch Roseville and the youth leadership in the past. It looks like the new thing that they have on here is the leadership Roseville, which is very similar to something that JG has already had in the works. So he already has something along these lines, and he already has, it's a program, there was a change in staffing, or else the program would have already been launched or very close to being launched. So
I never heard of it.
so JG can speak on that even more. So because when I ran, that was a question and a conversation that I had with JG in August, September of last year to make, and we were on the same page that this is something that the town was interested in. He was working on it, and that soon it would be launched. So that's a concern that I have of giving them money to do something that the town already has in works. So that's one thing. The second concern that I have is that the main role of the chamber is to support the businesses. The foundation is secondary, the youth are secondary, but I have had business leaders ask me, what are you going to do for us? To me, that's a concern. Because if the business leaders don't feel like they're being taken care of, and I've had 2 or 3 other business leaders tell me, I feel like the focus of the chamber is on the youth and not on us, that's a problem for me. And I think that's something, if any monies are being given to them, I looked and tried to find where these monies are going to help the business leaders. And the only thing that I see is money that is going into programs. I don't see any professional development being paid for. I don't see anything that's helping those business leaders continue to succeed. You know, not that those events can't help, but all business leaders can't afford to be sponsors for those, to get their names up on a banner, you know, or whatever else it is that they do. So I feel that money that is coming from the town, some of it should be earmarked, just as they have this budget of annual dinner and ambassador program, then why not a line item in here that says this is how much money we're spending on these business leaders to help them succeed? I think that's the purpose of the chamber, and I don't see it being addressed in any of this paperwork that we have. So therefore, $30,000 to me for a youth leadership program, which is not the main focus of the chamber, I have issues with an additional $12,000.
So what do you
for that.
propose?
I propose that this MOU is amended to include monies that are going to be specifically for business leaders, and a number.
Can I just ask you to define business leaders? Are they business owners?
Business owners, or
Okay.
even their employees that work there, just what can they do to help the businesses in Rolesville?
Well, I know a lot of their programs that they partner with Wake Tech does do a lot.
And how many of those have been done? How many of those have been offered to the chamber in the last year? We have a list.
I went to quite a few of them.
We have a list, and it looks like from this list, the majority of the programs that are listed here, about 6 or 7 of them out of 12, I could be wrong, but based on the titles, look like they're COVID and beyond.
COVID and beyond, meaning
March on.
from
Based on
March
the
till
titles.
now? No, because I know we've had SCORE come in through Wake Tech, through Chamber. I don't know what kind of funding it took to bring those programs here. I really don't know
SCORE
that.
is none.
But I do know that Wake Tech, through the program that I was a part of, they still come through, well, in light of COVID, it's virtual, but they still provide different classes for us to take in order to improve our business.
Okay, I'm just going on what I have here that was provided by the chamber, and I could be wrong. If they're here, then I'd like to see them, but I don't see that. I'm just speaking on what I have here before me, and those are my concerns.
Okay,
All right.
good.
I would like.
Chopping it a bit.
I am.
She didn't get a number from April, though.
Yeah.
She didn't
didn't
have
wanna
a
give
number.
it-
I don't have a number.
She don't have a
All
number.
right, I'm gonna give you a number. All right. I'm in favor of giving them the $30,000 and asking them to rewrite and amend the MOU to address the issues that April said for addressing our businesses. And I'll tell you why. Businesses are starting to suffer because you're seeing Washington cut back on what they're giving unemployed people, and small businesses are really going to suffer. I have utmost faith in Rachel and her team. I know just enough about the chamber to get me in trouble because I chaired the chamber for a year. I was president of it back when my wife asked me to get out of politics. And this was in between these 2 terms I've served, and I got involved in the chamber, and we struggled. We really struggled. And April knows back then we struggled, and we got very little support from the town. All right. That has changed, and I give the credit to the 2 ladies here that came on board and got elected, and Ronnie for supporting the chamber. And you can see where it went from 8,000 to 12,000, and then to 18. I think a 30,000 is a drop in the bucket when you look at our overall budget, and you consider that the good that the chamber can do if the MOU is changed to address the businesses that we have here. And I'm glad you brought it up about the youth. I love youth, but at the same time, I think right now the chamber needs to be focused on assisting. No, I was saying Sheila in economic development.
But this
And I'd
extra
like to see-
money is for the youth. This extra money
That's
is
why
for
we're
the
gonna.
youth.
But that's why I want to say we send this back to them and ask them to redo the MOU, and then we consider 30,000.
Okay,
And
thank
I
you.
do want to go back to, not yet, because I know it's Sheila's turn or Paul's. I do want to go back to what you said about Parks and Rec. 4 years, I've never heard of such a thing, and I'm trying to figure out why is it running through Parks and Rec? But we can answer that after we get to the next person.
Let JG speak on it. It's his program.
Has anybody heard of that?
I inquired because I was wrong.
I don't
I know,
think
but I
I
was
don't
here for
think
4
the
years and
chamber's
I
job
haven't.
is to assist Parks and Rec. I think the chamber's job is the Chamber
Right,
of
that's
Commerce
what-
is to promote economic development and growth, economic growth in our municipality.
I agree.
But I think, if I'm understanding the point correctly, You're saying that a program that the chamber's proposing to do, that something, Parks and Rec is doing something similar.
As
I have a
something.
problem with overlap. That's why I'm looking at REDAC and why do we have a foundation? It could do the exact same thing. So even though you say the money's drop in the bucket, the drop in the bucket does not belong to us personally. Now, if you all want to donate your money personally, that's your business. But this is Roseville's money. And we have to always temper ourselves with, this is not our money. And make sure that we're doing the best thing for Roseville. And I think any chamber, 65 to 70% of their resources need to be focused on businesses. That's what a chamber is in existence for. And I agree with you on the MOU changes. We need to change it so that we are strategic about directing this is what we want it to be used on. And that's
Well, let's give it back to
think that was a
them,
great
ask
idea,
them to
Jackie.
redo it, and then ask them to give us a number.
Let's hear from Paul.
Great.
Paul's like,
Thank you. Well, I think if you rewrite an MOU, I think you're just changing titles and tags on everything. I mean, this is what they're going to use it for. This is it. I mean, they could move it from this to that and everything else, but this is what's been proposed. This is where I feel like it's going to be used. In regards to the programs, I'd like to hear more about that Leadership Roseville program, if there is an overlap, especially. And the Chamber Foundation, so I think we heard a little bit about that in our group meeting with them, but I want to point to the fact of the youth leadership and the Launch Roseville. We saw them take it, get results, and then they asked for more money the next year. So I feel like that should be the same MO for everything we do with them. Do it for a year, show us how it works, make it make sense for us to help them. And they do an awesome job. Like, I don't want to put anything down that they do. I have personal experience with the youth leadership. My daughter went through that. I know it was a great program.
My son.
Yeah, great program and everything else. Not putting anything down on what they do, but just wanted to focus more on the businesses, and I feel like this doesn't focus on businesses right now. That's what I would say about it.
So the 22 was your number?
Yeah, I second that. So I would say 22.
I still stick with the 30.
Yeah. All right, I think where we at with this, I can call for,
May I clarify what Mrs. Sneed's talking about on Parks and Rec, if I may? And then I'd like, if we could take a vote on the 22,000, I do have a clarifying question I need to ask.
Okay.
So, Ms. Sneed, I think in our operations, we incubate ideas. So there was some discussion and incubation had not risen to policy level, had not risen to my level as programs. So never had been presented for proposal. If you remember when I talked to you in an email yesterday, I said, that's the type, when did they reach our level? That had not reached our level yet. So is it in the thinking of town staff that there is a similar type program that might be done by the town? Yes. Does Chief have a Citizens Academy that he would like to do? Yes. Do I have an interest at some point to have a leadership group of citizens who we want to start incubating and be interested in different commissions we have? Yes. We have not reached that level as a town. So they're incubated. There may be something here that's relationship to those that are similar, but right now, Ms. Sneed, they have not risen to the policy board. So to be fair to JG and to your conversation, this board is unaware of it. We have not, and I really have not brought it forth either. So but is it there? Could it be there sometime in the near future? It could be if it had all the resources there and we support it as a town project program.
maybe it's something we could do jointly with the chamber.
That's right. And that gets back to the liaison idea. I think that's a good idea. Secondarily, if the 22,000 gets voted on, I do think it's important, at least for whomever's going to help draft the MOU, that there's a little bit of clarity as to what are you using the money for. Right now we have a number, but the MOU does cite specific programs. So if your number's different than page 30, which is their Exhibit 1, their MOU allocation, request, it'd be helpful for those who are going to work on the MOU to know what are you funding on page 30 that's equivalent to the 22,000, if you can. That way then we get the MOU generally right based upon your desire. Or is the interest to say it's 22,000 chamber, and you have the opportunity to recreate this and come back with what the program is equivalent to what the discussion is tonight for the 22,000. That's my clarity question to you all, if that's where you're going to go with the vote, and you affirm that vote.
And to clarify, we've already approved 18,000.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking to go up to 22,000.
Well, that's where the vote is right now.
Right.
And I'm still not even certain what the 18,000 is buying you right now today, other than what we previously had in the MOU.
Well, they've got a breakdown of it.
Yeah.
2019, 2020, they've got a breakdown of the 18,000.
If that's what you want to keep it at, that would be with the 18. Then the other question would be, what you adding 4,000 for?
And I feel like the one point with that is so program expenditures, what benefits a business, what benefits Rolesville. So,
But
I
the
mean,
businesses do benefit Roseville.
That's what I'm saying. Like Chamber of Commerce, what I felt like most people saying was should benefit the businesses. So what in the program expenditures benefits the actual businesses? Like youth leadership, that's a great program, but that's not part of helping out the businesses in Rolesville. Launch Rolesville does. Leadership Rolesville, I'm not sure what that is. The ambassador program, I feel like that might.
It definitely
Business
does.
after hours obviously does because you have businesses getting together. That makes sense. Lunch and Learn does, and the Chamber Foundation, I'm still questioning that one. I feel like that's a more long-term commitment there, but I would probably need more information about that to see if that benefit. I feel like it would benefit the businesses, but would just like to see more.
So I have a
information.
question for each of you, especially for you, Sheila, because you and Michael and Sheila work together. None of these questions came up before? Like, these are your questions now, but they weren't your questions then, so we would have those
Have a
answers?
discussion on the MOU. We didn't whip out the MOU when I started meeting with them in, what
No,
was
I'm
it,
not,
February?
no, I'm not talking about from February. I'm just talking about since this has come out. Since the MOU has come out, there was no discussion about,
Rachel and I have definitely met a couple times. Michael and I have met, definitely, but we just didn't meet this month.
okay, so for the Chamber Foundation, which I know is new, and questions about the youth leadership or what is the chamber doing for the business, none of these questions were asked and addressed
I
for
have
you?
emphasized it over and over.
Oh, you didn't get the answer that you were,
I asked the questions in our questions.
Yeah, and I did ask.
And
them.
I don't think that the answers, that I was given direct answers in here.
okay.
Okay. Anything else, Paul? So did what you was talking about, did that add up to 22,000?
Did the math.
I'm trying to figure out because I'm trying,
Do you want me
Yeah, that's
to
fine.
summarize what I heard
No,
you
that's
say?
fine. Yep.
So I'm looking at the 2020-21 MOU allocation request. Youth leadership at 2,500. What? Well, no, you said
Take that
no,
one out,
right?
yeah.
Did you say no to that?
Yeah.
you're saying no to the youth
I'm not
leadership?
saying no to it. I'm just saying that doesn't benefit businesses directly.
Looking
so.
for things that benefit
yeah.
direct link to businesses.
Oh, okay. Well, you're actually close, because then you launch Roseville, 5,000. Ambassador, 500, business after hours, lunch and learn, so that's 6,500. And I didn't hear you comment on the event expenditures.
No,
That's
I left that alone.
10,750. And then I did not hear you comment on the organizational expenses. So it's,
So what came out of program expenditures? Besides youth leadership, of the 2,500 or the
Leadership and
6,000?
leadership.
And
Rolesville.
leadership,
and the
Roseville.
chamber fund.
Okay, I'm sorry, say it again.
It'd be youth leadership and leadership Rolesville.
And the chamber.
And chamber
Chamber
foundation.
I'm not opposed to
Hold on,
leaving a
hold on.
small amount
Before
in
we
it.
do that, let me make sure I understand what the numbers, what do you say?
Well, I messed up a little bit. Let me make sure. I think you're really close to your number.
He's taken the three at the top that relate, or the few that relate to the businesses more directly, and then including the event expenditures and
Based
organizational
on what
expenses.
you said. 5,000, 6,500 on the top. $47.50 on the bottom, middle.
Kelly, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, off the top?
On this sheet,
Program expenditures.
page 30,
Right? So you're
Paul is
totaling it already?
recommending 6,500.
he's totaling it.
Okay, gotcha.
10,750 from event expenditures, 4,750
Operating expenses.
operating expenditures, which is
17, 18.
22,800. Is that right? Does anybody else get that same math?
30,000.
Say 26,000?
22,800.
All right, it's all yours, Jackie. Floor is yours.
No, I wasn't going to take all of youth leadership out. We gave them 500 for youth leadership last year. Let's leave it in there. Let's not take all of it out.
Right.
But let's not increase it to 2,500 either. Just like launch Roseville from 1,000 to 5,000.
Yeah, that was
You know, I think we need to give this back to them and ask them to redo this. You know, I'm not opposed, and yes, I used the wrong verbiage when I said drop in the bucket. I'm not opposed to spending $30,000 if it results in economic development and economic growth in Roseville, because we've got people that need help, and they're going to need even more help come this fall, I believe. I think that we should send them a signal that we're not turning down the $30,000 request. We just want to see the MOU allocation redone and let them know that we think that they are spending too much money on certain line items such as youth leadership and the others that we've discussed.
All right, so let me speak up for youth leadership, because initially the town was supposed to partner with the youth leadership group, just like they were with Launch Roseville. Last year didn't happen, but other businesses stepped up and helped out. So yes, we all sacrificed. Even I did, but it was no big sacrifice. I had no problem doing it. But I know some of your restaurants did the same thing. That's for youth leadership. I mean, that's for Launch Roseville. Actually, it's for both of them. So youth leadership, I feel there was some assistance from the community, from the businesses sticking together. Launch Roseville, definitely. There was some assistance from restaurants and marketing, and having people come in and help you with your marketing and not charging you anything, doing stuff in kind. So I think there were fees there that they were able to take care of themselves or get as much assistance as they could, or just do what they can with what they had. But I think that this year, even though this is pre-COVID, if I'm not mistaken, it is pre-COVID, correct?
I don't know.
All right, I'm thinking it was, but I could be wrong. I'm just
I'm
assuming
assuming
that.
it is,
I'm
since
assuming
they
it
had
is
to
as
stop
well.
some of the events.
I said, so with that, we've seen some businesses go out of business. Some businesses are hanging by a string, but they are bringing in people to help people pivot and understand how they can change their businesses around that they normally, no one's ever gone through this before. So they are bringing in experts to help, to have conversations with people to get their businesses, to keep their businesses here. So when I hear you say that businesses felt like there's more given to youth leadership, what do they mean by that? Because it's not a lot of money that they're putting into youth leadership. They're just finding ways to make it
The
work.
focus is on youth leadership instead of the businesses.
I just don't, okay, so I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that's the case. I think the focus is going to the youth because they have a program, they have a plan, they have a process, and they follow through on that. I think that there's always been an issue with the businesses and the town where they never felt the support of the town. So now you get the support from the town, from the hard work of the chamber members. So I think they are being supported in that aspect. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, so I've heard many complaints that a lot of businesses are leaving Roseville, not so much because of the chamber, although they had their issues too, but because they felt the town wasn't doing anything to support or promote them. So I guess what I'm saying is...
So then the question is, what do they expect from the town? When the chamber is there when that is the goal and the purpose of the chamber, then what do those business leaders expect from the town?
Okay, so I'm sure you heard this too, though, right? When you were with the chamber.
And I
That the issue
I
was with
never
the
heard
town.
anything about the town.
Oh, wow.
Because
Okay.
that relationship was just being reformed when I got there.
Right, so
And that
prior
wasn't
to
part
that-
of what I never heard that the town doesn't support our businesses. I never heard any of that, ever.
Well, when I was president, I did.
All the time.
Okay, I don't doubt,
Yeah.
I'm not doubting anything. I'm just saying I did not have those
So
conversations.
I guess I'm trying to figure out, where does the legwork come in? What part is the town going to do to help promote the businesses, to help support the businesses? I'm like, who's going to do it? Does that make sense? Like, where do you expect this? Where does anybody expect that support to come from? Is it just financially, or is it manpower?
I don't think any of us, at least for me.
I'm not
I am
being critical, I'm just
questioning
asking.
the work that the chamber does. What I'm saying is the portrait that they painted does not show that work. If I walked in here blind and looked at this, I would go, what are we doing for our businesses? And that's what I'm saying. And so like Jackie said, maybe it's just a rewrite of, like, I would like to see more business after hours. I want to see Lunch and Learn series. I want to see them take the mom and pops and go, hey, let's help you go virtual. If that's what you want to do, we can show you how. I want to see that. Maybe they're doing that. I'm saying I don't see that picture.
I think they are doing it, but I just.
And I'm not saying
again,
they're not, but I don't see that picture. This was your chance, this was the chamber's chance to paint that picture. The picture's incomplete. So I don't think any of us are saying we don't support the chamber. Chambers do
No,
great
I'm not
work.
saying that. I'm just saying that they do a lot of things. And I just think that there was a breakdown of communication, because I personally feel, I don't know that they could have done better or worse. I just don't feel like, you're on that committee with Rachel, Michael's on that committee with Rachel. How did they not get that point when you all sit down and talk about this all the time? And I'm not blaming you, I'm just asking.
So it is not my job or any of us to say, let me tell you what we want. If I'm gonna come to this board and I say, hey, I need $500,000, you better believe I'm gonna come and paint a picture of why I need it, what it's for, and how it's gonna benefit you to convince you to help me do my $500,000 project. That's how business works. The person that, when you go to the bank for a loan for a business, you've gotta come with what? A
You gotta come with your
business
documents. I
plan,
get it.
right?
You
Your
come with your
business
plan.
plan.
I get
So the
that.
bank doesn't say, let me give you a business plan, and then you come and we'll approve your loan. So I'm saying this, to me, was just somewhat of an incomplete picture of showing what I feel like needs to be big support to our businesses. And maybe they're doing that hand over fist. I just don't see it in the picture that was painted.
Okay, so let's go to the Chamber Foundation, because I think, Paul, you said something, and maybe you did too, Sheila, you touched upon it a little bit. Because you said you don't really know what that is. Is that correct?
There was a general idea that it was a nonprofit that was going to work out to benefit businesses later on, but that's as far as I got with that information for what was provided. And I'm not saying, and to get back to my point, I'm not saying I would gut everything in here. I was just trying to prove a point of what benefits business. So if you said they're bringing in experts to do this and that line item, we're bringing in experts to do this and that, $500, $1,000. Okay, that makes sense, because that's directly benefiting, which they probably are doing. It's just not shown on this list. Like, if it's shown on this list that way, then somebody else is taking care of working with youth leadership and helping them do their funding on that. And that's okay, because they're helping the businesses are helping them with the youth leadership. So that kind of, it's just the picture. It's just I just need to be able to sell it correctly. That's all.
Commissioners, it's important to remember that the foundation is a separate corporate entity. It is not the Chamber of Commerce. So that could be a different allocation or appropriation made from the town's budget if and when the time is appropriate.
That's interesting.
Well,
That's different.
That's
That's interesting.
That changes everything.
Right.
So now the chamber is coming and asking the town for money for another organization. Is that correct?
Actually, I don't believe the MOU requires anything of the foundation. The last meeting, my memory is from the minutes that the chamber was making the town aware of their efforts to form a foundation to enhance their fiscal abilities. A foundation is generally a 501c3 entity that is able to draw upon charitable donations better than a Chamber of Commerce, which is a 501c6 and is generally only tax deductible for business purposes rather than charity.
So they need to drop that item off. We drop that 3,000 right now. That can be a separate, come to the board and ask for, give us a presentation of what that foundation is and what it does, and we can consider that separate.
That would be under that money that's set aside for that.
Right.
Right.
So even though these programs that fall up under the foundation, and those are the programs that form the foundation, can the chamber still ask for funds for those?
As a technical matter, the board of the foundation should ask you for that money and tell you what that entity would do with the taxpayers' money.
So, what is
Because now they're going to be, so they're going to have the foundation, from what I had understood, they're going to have the foundation and youth leadership in Launch Rollsville, and I'm not sure about the other ones, they're going to be run under that foundation.
Oh, I don't know.
Workforce development.
That's
I
what
didn't
this
know.
paper says right here.
Yeah.
Roseville Chamber Foundation.
So they're moving everything, okay, well, I didn't see that.
And I wouldn't have a problem with that if somebody came and said, the foundation's going to do this, and we have this program, this program, this program, that are going to be under that. Okay, that makes sense. You're going to help out the youth, you're going to help out the Launch Rollsville project, that makes sense.
That falls under our other organizations that come, the 501c3s, yeah.
This then may
Right,
return
that's what I
you
was
to
talking
Commissioner
about.
Wilson's comment about a necessary restructuring of the proposal, even if the numbers are right.
Right. Yeah.
So the application for that other, the funds that are set aside by the town,
Technically
that's,
still open. And they are a 501c3, so they would qualify.
So are we good with the rewrite of the MOU?
You'll withdraw your motion.
Yeah,
We got a motion and a second on the floor. You'd have to withdraw it.
Yeah, where we at is you either have to reword your motion in some other way, or just withdraw it. And if the person wants to withdraw it too.
And
both of them.
the problem is with the rewrite, we can't tell them how to rewrite it. They have to come up with that.
And
They
we
should be able to
shouldn't.
take what we said here and do that.
They
but-
should take into consideration your concerns.
and I think it's more information that's being shared though.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's definitely more clarity on how this, I just feel like it's been dragging on for a long time.
Well, I want to get it right now. So if we get it right now, the next year, we're like, okay, this is what this does, this is what that does. We're not having meeting after meeting over it. So that's how I feel about it.
I'm confused.
That makes
Do I need to just amend my motion?
Mr. Mayor, a motion to amend is in order while the pending motion is pending. So if someone wanted to offer a motion to amend that were seconded, that could be taken up. If that were voted positively, then you return to now the amended main motion, vote that, and move forward.
As a reminder, the motion did include $18,000. Proposing Commissioner Sutton being the board's liaison to the chamber. MOU. From expenditures benefit Rollsville, and we did actually ask for an audit.
I thought it was 22.
22.
22.
I'm sorry, current increase from the current 18,000
To 22.
Okay.
And I feel like if they came back with what we're asking, I would have less of an issue if the breakdown was correct. If it made sense with this is under the foundation and this is under the chamber, and these are two different entities, and this is what's going to happen with these. I mean, that's just my opinion, but.
You know something else too? I'm just going to say this. I think that each of you here, and I know I've seen Jackie and April, have you been out to talk to any of these businesses that are out there? Has anybody? So do you know what's going on with any of what their relationship is with the chamber or with the town or just with other businesses
Yeah,
amongst
but that would
each
be the
other?
responsibility of the chamber to tell us what they're doing for those
Say,
businesses.
wait, I'm sorry, say that
I
again?
would feel that that's the
Mm-mm.
whatever.
No,
Yeah,
that's
well,
leadership. That's your town leadership.
Yeah, but I don't.
You
we're
go out
giving
and
them
you
money for that.
meet your constituents, you meet your business owners, you have that conversation, because that was another one of the complaints. We vote for you, we get you in there, we never see you again till you knock on our door for that vote. So when you're meeting your neighbors or meeting new people for the first time, you have these businesses opening up, how many people here go to these, to the, yes, the ribbon cuttings? Thank you. How many people go? How many of you go? I mean, I
if
can
they're in the middle
say,
of the day, I have to
I've been
work,
to some
so, yeah.
pre-COVID, and I had a virtual meeting with the businesses back in March or April. Was that April?
right, but I'm just saying, make sure they be visible. Hear what they're saying, because like you said, you didn't hear that when you were involved with the chamber that businesses were complaining. They were complaining, and sometimes they just need to vent. You know, or sometimes they may tell you something that you had no idea was happening, or sometimes they may just have it wrong, and you can explain it. But I think it's important that you build that relationship up with the business owners in Roseville. You know, find out, like, some of them went out of business. Why? Some of them are pivoting. Is it working out?
Right.
I think it's important that you do that. And that's not a chamber function only. That is your leadership should
So
be
let
doing
me
that as
say,
well.
That's a very good point. And part of why I wanted to, we had put together and this is, Michael can attest to this for me, but I said I want the town to have a closer relationship. Town leadership, town staff to have a closer relationship with the businesses. And we had an after-hours plan for June 25th that got canceled because of COVID. So that is an effort to do that. We even talked about doing like dinners, or do spaghetti dinners and just invite business owners out. So that definitely is on the radar, to definitely do that from town leadership and staff to get to know the businesses that are here locally. Because I think that matters. Good point.
Okay, all right.
All right, let's get back to the
So
motion.
he said amend.
So you can, we can vote on your motion and see how it goes, or we can amend it, like the attorney said. And if you want to amend it to a different number, or you want to amend it from a standpoint of sending it back, you know.
I don't know what I would amend it. What am I amending? I guess I'm confused. I'm not willing to amend the number. We went through the numbers. To me, it makes sense.
Well, let's vote on it then.
So I'm confused. But he was
Councilman.
saying something about the MOU. We'd have to
Yeah,
do an
you'd
amendment
have to-
for that. That's the point I was trying to understand.
So there's the proposal from the agency that informs you that they can do work that is of a public benefit, that it would otherwise be within the powers of the town to do itself. And so we enter into a contract, a service agreement, or a memorandum of understanding that binds them to that promise as to what they're going to do with the taxpayers' money. So the proposal is one piece. Commissioner Vilga referenced that some thoughts about the proposal. The MOU is something that's negotiated and could be directed to the staff to get that in the proper order such that it aligns with what the board has said here today.
Oh, so we would amend both of these, ask them to amend both, the MOU, well, their MOU and then the proposal, both.
Admittedly, I'm not sure what the majority's wishes are at this point.
But I'm saying, is that what you just said in layman's terms?
That the proposal is different from the MOU. The MOU is a negotiated document between the town that you would approve.
Gotcha.
So they proposed potentially, actually they did, Michael could point this out, their proposal is different than the MOU that is before you. They're similar, but they're not exactly the same. For example, the MOU now requires financial records from the Chamber of Commerce. It does not require financial records from the foundation. And that's a technical matter that should be addressed.
I feel like we're jumping the gun if we vote on it.
So I'm going to withdraw my motion.
I'll
I think
withdraw my
that's
second.
wonderful. Okay, all right, I think that's wonderful. I'd like to make a motion that we give it back to, give their MOU and their proposal back to the chamber for them to redo, hearing our concerns, and make a new proposal to us.
I second that, Jackie.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this motion?
But that does that include the foundation? Because I'm thinking it should not.
They heard, they're in the other room, they heard the concern about that. I think they need, if I was a chamber working
I
on
don't
this,
want
I would.
anything to be assumed.
So you want to put it in the
Yeah,
motion?
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that needs to be in the motion because that's not a part. I mean, our attorney just advised us that's a separate organization.
Okay, all right, I'll amend my motion to remove the chamber foundation from the MOU on legal advice from our attorney.
I second that.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Do we have that motion captured there, Madam Clerk? If so, read it back to my benefit, if you would.
I have Commissioner Wilson offered a substitute motion that the MOU be sent back to the chamber for further revision in the direction of additional funds to be focused on helping businesses, and that the chamber foundation be removed from the MOU.
Okay. So we got that motion and we got it second, right?
Very good,
So
Ms.
is there any other discussion? Very good. If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion occurred. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, the next item is town attorney. Any reports?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I'll throw out is one that I had not planned on presenting here, but just very quickly on these parliamentary issues that bind us up so many times, and given that was so interesting during our work session, if we have a motion on the floor that has been seconded and open for discussion, it is in order for someone, another member once recognized by the chair, which is the mayor, to allow for that motion to be amended. It's also in order for that matter to be postponed, which is something we discussed during the work session. Our town clerk mentioned the term substitute motion. That's often used as an alternative for a motion to amend. When we vote on a substitute motion or a motion to amend, what we are doing is we are changing the prime motion that was already before the board. And so after we approve the first one, we then need to approve the original one because it's now changed. So in those cases, we'll vote twice in the future. Although in this case, we know each other so well and we understand what we mean. We often don't go through that formality. But just so the minutes look appropriate, if we had gone through the formal process, Commissioner Sutton's motion would be amended. And then once it was amended by a majority, and there can be discussion on the amendment itself, you would return to voting on your motion and vote that up or down. Does that make sense?
So in the quickest way, you're saying that what she said, what Commissioner Sutton said initially, to amend that, so bring it back to discussion and then amend what she said, but with the amendment attached to it.
Correct. Okay. That's exactly right. You redlined it.
Okay.
You've redlined the original motion. It would work super easy. Imagine if the original proposal was, I make a motion to give the Chamber of Commerce $15.75. Substitute motion could be $100,000. The original motion is still out there. It now has been redlined if approved at $100,000, and the original motion is read as though it originally said $100,000. And you can see how that might change the way those who offered the motion and those who seconded the original motion might now vote. And so while there is a common belief that if you offer a motion or you second a motion that is indicative that you support the idea, that does not bind you. Following the discussion, your mind could be changed or the matter could be amended as part of that discussion, and that's all okay. That's it.
Anything else, Mr. Attorney?
See, all this education, oh my gosh, it never ends.
Commissioner Medley wanted more training.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, do we have a report from town manager?
And that does go, I think someday it'd really be good for us to do a Robert's Rules. And have our elementary class.
Change
And there's a great high school class that probably could teach us a lot. So
I agree.
when we have time and you want to spend that time, I think we should do that because I think it'd be real.
I vote to just change Robert's rules. Too confusing. Move on from them.
Okay, in front of you, you have a letter from Cobblestone that says they're holding a Zoom meeting on August 11th. I just want to bring that to your attention. Again, on the 18th, your next meeting, we're bringing back the subject matter, the development agreement and the purchase agreement to you. And that night, you are going to hear if there's any new information that's come up over this month-long period. And then you will deliberate or ask more questions. And then you will deliberate your interest on scheduling a public hearing or not sometime in the future, or if you have more questions. So again, if you have not had an opportunity to talk to Cobblestone representatives, you want to, please do, or save them for that night. Prefer to try and get those kind of out there so they have an opportunity to talk to you about them, or at least you have them in front of somebody to think about. I did also ask that if you would please schedule another 2 hours in August so that we can get back on and talk about the mixed use downtown zone text amendment and give you an update also and talk about the UDO and CTP progress. I had 4 dates. August 18th, which would be before our next meeting at 3 p.m. or thereabouts. August 19th, the morning after our meeting, sometime in the morning. August 25th, which is another Tuesday.
Kelly, I'm sorry, what was that first date again?
18th in the afternoon.
18.
Did everybody respond and agree to?
Two people did.
I was one of the two for a change.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Good.
I said those dates, I said I just have one
Okay.
thing going on
That's
on
right.
the 25th.
Okay. That's right. So 3 people. I think I heard 3 were all good for all of them.
Okay.
The 25th, though, keep in mind, isn't that conference that
7
morning?
p.m. I said.
Right, but it's that morning. I'm just saying, you
Well, I
have
understand.
something at
Yeah.
both ends.
Yeah, right. Yeah, work's not going to stop, but that's right. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I agree. And then that whole week of the 24th to 28th thing also. So, or probably an afternoon or evening. Understand that week is the
25th?
training.
That was for the 25th?
That whole week is anytime in the afternoon or evening, because in the morning some of us have signed up for training.
Okay, so my little memo to you said on the 25th,
Mhm.
from 1 to 3,
Yeah.
I have a professional standards meeting that I'm a part of in Durham, so I couldn't be there.
So,
All right, well, let's make a decision on them. So August 18th, late afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock. That was the first one.
So let me ask you this, can we do it right before our meeting and somebody's gonna buy Michelle dinner?
so it's all virtual.
That didn't
All
work.
virtual.
I tried.
Trying to get a free
What time
meal.
was that one then?
I'm fine with that one.
What time was that one?
3,
Tom?
I put 3.
3 to what?
That 3 would be 2 hours.
Okay.
Take a break, come back here, do the regular meeting. Long
Then
day.
we'll have a 2-hour break before we come up here.
But that's gonna be a long meeting on the 18th, right? That's why I said the little dinner thing. I can bring my own dinner, but I know we used to meet like that. Sometimes we'd have it right before the meeting.
I understand.
Can we see if there's another one? I have trainings at 3:30 that week that I would like to attend.
What's the 19th?
19th, the morning after a long meeting.
Okay, what time is that?
But you can do it anytime to accommodate everybody's schedule. So then that'd be 8, then that'd be 6, then you'd be 9.
Not before 8 o'clock. I'm
10.
telling you, I will not be here. But I'm good on the.
Again, these are all virtual.
I'm okay August 19th.
Yeah, I was okay for all of
Anytime.
them too, so.
What's the next two? What's the next one? I
And
think
then
the
anytime
25th.
the week of the 24th through the 28th.
Well, you said August the 25th too. at
Well, I
7
did. I
o'clock.
did put that in there because it's a Tuesday.
Oh, that's a great one for me.
Try and keep on a Tuesday.
Yeah, 7 o'clock,
7 o'clock.
and that's 7 p.m., Michelle, so, you know.
Okay, you know, Ronnie.
I'm good with the PM.
Okay, so,
Everybody, let's do it.
25th.
What do you think of that? 25th, 7 o'clock. And what day is
me.
that on? Is
The
that on
Wednesday?
Day after a long planning commission meeting.
The Wednesday night?
the Wednesday night?
Night.
Wednesday night's
August
fine.
25th?
No, 25th's a Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
Oh,
okay.
It's a week after after our meeting.
25th's okay with me.
Going once?
It works for me.
Don't-
25th, you want to do it earlier, 6 p.m. or 7?
are you gonna feed us at 6?
No, it's virtual.
Look who's bucking for a meal.
I'll drop off a bag of burgers from McDonald's.
Bucking for a meal right along next to me.
Uber Eats,
Oh, so we good with that then?
6 o'clock on the 25th?
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock?
Yep.
That's all right.
All right, 6.
Oh, that's gonna be a long day for you,
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Robin, you're gonna send us
All
a
right.
reminder,
I'm gonna put next to it,
Thank you, dear.
no meal. Cook at home.
virtual meeting. All
All
Bag of
right.
burgers delivered.
right, and the purpose of this meeting is?
The purpose of this meeting is to give you an update on our progress of what we're doing on the UDO and the the Comprehensive Transportation Plan update. There's been about 6 months worth of work that staff and consultants have done that we haven't checked in with you on. And then also to talk about the mixed-use downtown mixed-use proposed zoning that would be used in the cobblestone or the town property area.
And this is a
I
2-hour
got it.
meeting?
I don't know. It may not be.
No more than 2 hours.
No more than 2 hours.
All right,
Don't,
I
don't,
got it.
I just wanna say, a class I would be interested in having somebody present to us would be an engineer talking about traffic study analysis.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of random. Do you want to?
Don't kill, no, it's not, no, really, no, it's not random, because we're still talking about different things, like cobblestone and these other developments coming up, and everyone's talking about traffic. So I would like to be able to read that analysis even better versus having a citizen come here who's from another state, whose testimony doesn't count because she's from another state, but she did enlighten us on something about the study and how it changes. You know what I mean? The
Yep.
lady who came, I'm
Well,
not sure if you were
this
here.
kind of gets
Commissioner Medley, would that be for this board or for the planning board or for both?
I think it would be for both. Because she did, you remember the lady from Detroit who came and she had mentioned how it changes from one rating to another based on the amount of homes that are going in and what the analysis had said? I never realized that it changed like that.
Well,
So
I
you-
want to see this board. We've been talking about it forever.
Oh, remember that.
But I want to see this board start hiring the traffic study
Yes.
people and the developer reimburse us. I want this done, I want it done yesterday.
That's part of UDO, I think.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's going to be done
And
now.
that's
Yeah, we
something
keep
that
hearing
needs
that
to be
anyway.
done immediately.
I think it does, but Jackie, I think it all comes together when we get the analysis, it's like this, and you're like, okay. But I remember her stating when you go from like a D or a C or a C to a D, what that means in regards to that traffic study. I never really realized that. So I just think it's important that we're more educated on the analysis that come through. I know you said you don't remember it, but I clearly remember her saying that because, you know, Beth was right on it. She said, you're not even from this state, doesn't count. Her, when she, you remember that?
What, last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Okay,
Anything
so
else?
it was random, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I do. No, that's okay. But it gets to, and I'm not going to go off. I'm going to go with that a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw it out there again. You all are getting pressed on a lot. And I think you need to be thinking about commitment to more time in this chambers for many things. Most of the communities in and around you now are starting to go to at least 3 sessions a month. Nightdale's about ready to do it. Wake Forest does it. Wendell's considering it because of everything you're talking about. It's getting more difficult. There's land use issues. They're longer. You need more time to be thinking. So I'm just throwing it out there. Think about that. You may want to think about a third Tuesday night of just those kind of things sometime down the line. Okay. Speaking of things, more time. We have, I want to give you an update on the fire study. Friday is the deadline for those. We have 4 submittals. I expect a 5th. And my question to you all is how do you proceed, or what do you want to proceed on review and selection process? We did not talk about that last time. I don't need to do that tonight. I would suggest that maybe the mayor and I help lead on that, and you all kind of start thinking about that, what you want to do, what level of participation you want on that, or who do you want to participate in that, so that we can get that resolved quickly, because those being Friday, consultants are gonna wanna know what the process is fairly soon after that. And then I'm anticipating you're gonna have interest of getting started on whatever recommendation there is, which will come back to you for consideration. So tonight, my thought is Mayor Kerr and I maybe start communicating to you, talk to you, and seeing what level of interest you all have in that selection or that interview process and review process. Okay? The organizational assessment study, the other item that we talked about, we had 7 consultants submitted. We have 3 chosen. I will get out an email on that to you tomorrow to let you know the details on that, but that is moving along. And that's all I have, because you did touch upon Ruth Payne resigning. We will get that advertisement started for the Planning Commission opening, and that's all I have.
The golf cart.
Yes.
He mentioned that he met with you and the chief a
Yes.
couple times, and so, do we need to add that to a workshop, or what do we need to? And we've done this before. I think we went through the golf cart process back a year or so ago, you may remember, and we said that it had to have all the safety features on it, and it adds up to be, what, $3,000 or $4,000 for somebody to do that.
They told us.
And they just riding around in their neighborhood, and you know, it's expensive. It's an expensive way to go. So I don't know. Is the homeowner association, is that something they want to do? Are they pushing that, or is the individuals pushing it, or what?
I think they've indicated homeowner association would be supportive of it.
Well, I was very impressed with Chief Soto's presentation to us last year, a year before last, when the ex-mayor went ballistic and shouldn't have on us.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to follow. We need input from Chief Soto, and we need to follow his recommendation, because you put one out there at this time of night with no taillights on it, somebody's going to get killed.
Yeah, and I guess it's something to think about. Is there a difference in, like you're saying, getting out here on them and keep them in your neighborhood? You know, keep them in Wall Creek or something like that. You know, if it's a neighborhood thing, you can't leave your neighborhood on it or something. Is that a different than being able to drive up to, you know, up in the Roseville in it? So that's why I was wondering if the homeowner association couldn't somehow. Because, you know, some cases, they don't want to come out on Forestville Road. They don't want to get out on the highway and stuff, you know.
But they couldn't, though, because didn't he say Wake Forest won't allow it for them to go on public streets with it? Did he say that, or?
We won't either. Yeah, not right
Yeah.
now.
Right. So
Yeah, Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't come out anyway without getting in trouble with Wake Forest. So they are trying to get it just for their neighborhood.
But your
But I
issues
still
are going to be somebody being a visitor going into that neighborhood that doesn't know anything about these golf carts being around these roads right now.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, and that's so you'd have to have signage and everything else. I feel like if you were even going to start that process.
I tell you, it can be a recipe for disaster. And I think we should we should get more input from Chief Soto. Before.
Same input. I could get you the report from October 2018 that you reviewed before, but nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So I can let you have that and come back and talk about this in 2 weeks and see if you want to schedule some time. Would you
Let's
like
do
to
that.
re-review that information?
Yeah, I like that idea.
So let me just understand that they're trying to get permission just to ride in their neighborhoods. And
That's what
all-
it appears to sound like.
And right now, they have permission to ride in the neighborhoods in Roseville, or no?
No.
'Cause now I'm getting all confused.
No, you have to be street legal to do
So then
anything.
that's where you run into the problem, where you have this property that's in another town, but want to adhere to the rules, or not adhere to the rules of the town that governs them.
Let me get you the information. I think we talked about that. I don't know if you can restrict it to the neighborhood or not. That would be, yeah. He's nodding behind me, then that's the answer. So then it would, I think you can't make it applicable to neighborhood by neighborhood. So if that's not the case, then it's community-wide.
It would be an amendment to the town code.
Sure.
So we would be challenged to draft the language that could limit that. You're probably stuck with limiting that by class of road. So neighborhood, we talked to Danny about that. So neighborhood streets rather than collectors or thoroughfares.
So would that be, so would you like the information from October 2018 and that little piece, which is, can you develop a local ordinance to allows and restricts by subdivision? Is that of interest to you to have Mr. Attorney review that and see if that's a possibility and add that to the report?
That just seems so problematic, because you have some neighborhoods that can, and then some neighborhoods that can't, and they all fall under purview.
We did talk about that because then, the continuity of subdivisions is different other places, so.
Yeah, you have villages in Carlton
Alright.
Point. You'd be all right. You know,
Can I
one
go to
allows
Food
it, one
Lion
doesn't.
from the village on my golf cart? I'm just
Chief
throwing
Chief
out-
Soto is not here, but I'll speak on his behalf. He would not want to have to keep track of individual subdivision streets as to which ones could have
Yeah,
the
you
folks
look-
tooling around in golf carts.
You look at Virginia Water Drive, and it
Granite
connects two
Falls,
neighborhoods.
The Granite Falls.
Yeah, and Granite Falls Boulevard. You don't want a golf cart on those.
Michael. I know.
You
I
know,
share
this
someone
is
at
a
the
complex issue.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
Not that simple.
Pick up their dinner at the seafood place.
Let,
in a
let us
Duck
send
Cart.
you the 2018 report.
Yes.
And make sure it addresses what we're talking about. If it doesn't, we'll re-amend that and add that piece. And then we'll get that for reading pleasure for the next week and a half, and then we'll come back and ask.
That'll be
I
helpful.
think they're legal today, so you can have them today as long as it meets those safety features.
Yeah, I mean, if you spend the $3,000 and put the tail lights on it and the windshield and the tags and everything, you know, you can do it.
Right.
You know,
just
you're
the
okay
cost.
with that, but
Okay.
I have a question, Kelly, before you move on. You mentioned the planning board and losing Ruth Payne, I believe it was. Is that her name? Ruth Payne is moving. I would like to know, or at least take into consideration, I know we're going to put advertisement out there for the planning board, kind of like what's the saturation of folks on the planning board as far as where they live in Roseville? I think we need to be cognizant of that so that we don't get a bunch of duplicates, somebody all living in the same community and stuff like that. So if we haven't,
That'd be guidance on your selection ultimately. I don't know if you want to put that out as a.
but I'm saying if right now, I don't know who's
Right,
on there,
right.
but if you have 2 people on there from one neighborhood and there's 7 people, I really think that neighborhood's kind of out.
No, but
Not
you
that
know
we
what?
have to put that out, but if there was some language that could say, hey, if we have an oversaturation of particular area of town, I don't know.
My recommendation.
I just don't want people to waste their time and they say, well, why didn't you say that up front? Just a thought.
But you don't get that many people that want to be on the board. We only had, Ronnie, how many? Were there 2?
That was this time, but remember that one year we got like 20 applications?
We
Somebody from one of the neighborhoods that's already duplicated is an engineer in such and such a town, and they want
Want
to do.
that person.
Yeah.
Right. I just am mentioning that, just food for thought.
we had quite a few turnout. I mean, you know,
One year we had a lot. This last time we didn't have a lot, but one year we had like 20-something
That was the
people.
year we first changed up the parameters on how we
Where
did
we had a
it.
policy, yeah. Just a thought, just a thought. We can move on.
Mr. Johnson can confirm this, but I do not believe that this member has yet resigned or moved. She did.
Yes.
She did. Okay. Excellent.
She sent a note.
Okay, she felt like
Otherwise.
trying to make
Mark
her
Twain
move
is dead.
along. She was
Got it.
living in Wake Forest.
gotcha.
And by the way, she was one of the ones who was not really for that case that we were talking about earlier.
That's all I have.
Is that all you have?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, staff. Who's on speak on the staff behalf?
And Michael, just a heads up before you start, I did try to talk about the PPP loans a little bit. You probably
Okay.
heard that. I probably
All right.
butchered it, so feel free to cover it if you need to.
Sounds good. Yeah, just a quick note on that. So we did hear that 5 entities, and you might have mentioned this, Commissioner, received loans in the range of $150,000 to $350,000, and then also the 86 Rolesville businesses that received loans in the amount of under $150,000. But the SBA did list the exact amount of those loans, but they don't release the names of those businesses. So we just have this number of 86 businesses, which, as Commissioner Sutton mentioned before, could be churches, could be a sort of an entity, could be somebody that their address is Rolesville, that's where they live, but they own a few businesses in Wake Forest and Raleigh.
yeah, that's why I think that is so misleading.
Yep.
You know, it shouldn't be done that way.
Right. I've heard many kind of concerns and complaints about how the SBA has been sharing the information. But the interesting thing is, as Commissioner Sutton mentioned, we have a little bit over 90 brick and mortar businesses in Rolesville. And from initial conversations, the chamber and I've had, we were hearing that, businesses weren't too interested in loans, and we did some research on what some other towns were doing, and we saw that Wake County was offering loans, the federal government was offering loans, the state was offering loans. So, and some advice we had was to kind of wait and see, and as Commissioner Wilson mentioned, it might be this third quarter and into the future where we're going to see businesses really have some need. But it is interesting, we didn't hear that too many Rolesville businesses were applying, or we didn't think too many were going to receive a lot of loans, and here we have this information from the SBC about the 86, so maybe that's just businesses not wanting to maybe say that they received the government loan. But anyway, this SBA data does show that a fair amount of local businesses in Roseville did receive some type of loan, even if it was just under $150,000.
Michael, I think part of that was because they did it in phases. So initially, like, nobody was getting money, well, maybe a few. Then it started trickling down.
Right. So definitely something we probably want to monitor into this, third quarter and beyond to see where our businesses are at and see what other needs might be out there. And kind of in that line of thinking, I just wanted to share some information about 2 new programs being made available to businesses and for the audience watching at home as well. The Department of Commerce, North Carolina Department of Commerce, just started up a job retention grant. And so this is for businesses or nonprofit organizations who did not participate in the Paycheck Protection Program or the North Carolina Rapid Recovery Loan Program through Golden Leaf. And if these businesses experience interruption due to COVID-19, the Job Retention Grant Program utilizes coronavirus relief funding to provide economic relief to North Carolina businesses and nonprofits that were negatively impacted by this pandemic. And there are some eligibility requirements in terms of having to have kept a certain percentage of your employees employed, and then also demonstrating economic loss because of COVID-19. And so you can, interested applicants, interested businesses can ask questions about this program at jrg@ncommerce.com. That's an email address that was offered as a place where people could send in their questions. And the program, there's more information on the North Carolina Department of Commerce's website, and that's ncommerce.com. Applications for this program close September 1st, so just another month. So just some additional money that's out there for some businesses if they weren't able to take advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program. And another program out there for businesses is a health and safety training program. This is offered, it's called Reopen Wake, and this is offered by Capital Area Workforce Development in partnership with Wake County. And Reopen Wake is a 2-module online training program that will help employers prepare their employees to return to work using appropriate precautions. Capital Area Workforce offers this at no cost to eligible Wake County businesses. There are some eligibility requirements as well, and more information can be found at their website, capitalareancworks.com. And this program specifically connects businesses in Wake County's vulnerable communities. Roseville does have, there's a map where you can go see where the vulnerable communities are in Wake County, and some of Roseville falls into that category as they define it. And so just a program that helps these businesses to offer training to help employers get their staff back to work and how to do that in a safe COVID-19 environment that we're now in. So, but if anybody else has questions about these 2 programs, they can also call Town Hall and ask myself, and I'll connect them to the right contact person. And that's all I had for tonight.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Who's up next?
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. First, I want to start and say we were very blessed last night with the storm. We only had one large limb in Old Town that we had to remove and one tree at the backside of Main Street Park that we had to get up. So on the public works side of things, we're very fortunate as a town as a whole, and from the cleanup aspect of that. So we're very fortunate, and our staff, town staff here was ready in case of anything severe happening. So I think we all worked really well as a team ahead of time to be prepared for the storms the best we could be, and the same thing on the public works side of things. Everything was ready to go Friday afternoon for the storm that came through yesterday. So just want to reassure you that the staff was doing everything that we could to be prepared for the storm, and again, we were very blessed that no more damage was done through town than was. We were very fortunate. We do have our first outdoor movie. We are doing that this Saturday. It's a very, hopefully you've seen a lot of information through the e-blast through that. It's very limited. We are doing 21 pods. As of right now, 18 pods have been reserved. It's a reservation only. You basically go to our website, and it's just like going to the movie theater where you reserve your seats. You reserve your pod. The pods are a 12-foot diameter circle, and they can hold a family up to 6 in that diameter for that one family. And they're spaced out between 6 to 12 feet apart from each other are these pods. So we're getting that social distancing outside. Everyone must wear a mask entering until you get into your pod. Then you may remove your mask once you're in your pod. So we're doing all the precautions that we can do to bring some normalcy to these families as well in a safe and controlled environment, and especially outdoors as well. We are in week 8 of summer camp of week 9. So we're almost in that home stretch of 9-week summer camps. As you know, Wake County is not taking students back on campus to start the school year. There's been a lot of conversations, I'm sure you may have seen it in the news, with YMCAs, local municipalities, Wake County public school systems. There's been a lot of calls and conference calls amongst ourselves on how can we provide that service of helping families who need that care so they can continue to work. So we're working on programs. We still don't have anything set. No one, the YMCA doesn't, we don't as well. There's a lot of legal things we have to get through, especially with DHHS. You're only allowed to have 16 weeks of camp unless you're a licensed facility. So that's something that we're all working through. We're hoping to get some more clarity from them by the end of the week from them on what we can do. So it's a lot of moving pieces and parts. We're looking at potentially maybe coming back before you with a partnership with the YMCA to help foster those camps for us, depending on our staffing availability and things like that. So we do feel that that's a need for the community to help provide that service to families, but trying to balance that and all of the legalities that go with it, we're trying to navigate that as well. So staff's been working really hard on that, and I want to commend our staff for their hard works to try to continue to provide for our citizens. As of right now, we're still, the parks are open to the public. Obviously, playgrounds due to executive order are closed, but the parks are open. We're seeing, high usage. I know on our websites, the Millbridge Nature Park, the last several months has been a top 3 hit. That park has gotten a lot more usage over the last 6 months than it's probably ever had in its life, on an average day-to-day numbers of folks out there. So it's good to see that our citizens are taking advantage of our greenway systems to get that physical and mental health aspect there in these tough times. So that's what we have tonight.
So I know I had a question come in. I think Kelly saw it. The only thing closed is the playground then?
Correct. Yes, sir.
It's the only thing closed.
In the restrooms, we have the restrooms are still closed just due to the overall demand of the cleaning that would require to clean a public restroom like that at a park, because of our use of the parks are so high.
So why would folks think the park is closed? Is it because the signage make them think that it's closed? Or
the only signage we have is on the playgrounds themselves. So there's nothing to enter the park that say they are closed. And everything that we've pushed out or messaged on the website, e-blast, the parks and greenways are open. Only playgrounds and restrooms are closed.
I could not tell from that gentleman's email if he thought he was referencing playground is closed and you want that open or parks, but.
I wouldn't think he'd want the playground. I mean, I wouldn't think it's the playground unless it's grandkids or something.
And we actually think, I think it's under CDC guidelines, playgrounds can be open. So I think that is, whatever happens this week, if phase 2 is extended, I hope the governor does consider maybe opening the playgrounds. Because I think it's a place that needs to be open, quite frankly, with the proper social distancing. But
Are they taped?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be another indication, Ronnie, that they're taped.
So being like going into different areas, like on vacation and everything else, the restrooms have always been open for greenways and everything else. Do we have a way of boxing our doors out, leaving them open so people can actually use them? I mean, is there a way to do that?
let's talk about it. I think we've gotten conservative on that. I don't think we have to keep them closed, so let me talk to JG and that's, you've seen other places.
Yeah, they're mostly open, and just because we have so many people on the greenway now, I feel like we should probably give them that option if we can.
And we've got a Google Doc through Wake County and the state, and right now it's about half and half. Your smaller communities are closing just because of the demand to clean in the staffing and supplies that it takes. So that's definitely something that Kelly and I can discuss and get a plan together to do that.
Yeah, and I think you have to provide the sanitary, hand sanitary stuff in the bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. I do believe.
Thank you.
I thought you use soap and water when you're near the sink and then hand sanitizer when you're not near the sink.
I don't know, if you go into restaurants, you see they got it in, because really it says it's supposed to be, most places it's supposed to be like 70% alcohol, whatever you use to do it with. It's not just, soap and water is okay, but they recommend this 70% alcohol stuff.
I thought that was when you're not near soap and water. It don't matter, but I was just wondering.
Next.
But I know if you go into restaurants, they got it in there.
We're trying to keep all the comments.
Is there a date the governor's coming back on?
Tomorrow. Just tomorrow.
This week, I think.
Tomorrow. No.
Good evening. If you'll remember, back when we had the budget conversations, we talked about how we are in an uncertain economic environment, and we were going to keep a little closer watch this year on the town's revenues and expenditures. So beginning in the next meeting in 2 weeks, I'll be starting to give you a monthly financial report. It's a little bit more in-depth than what we've done before. So I've been working on getting that report together for you and look forward to presenting that at our next meeting. So I apologize. That's a very long way of saying I have no report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Who's up next?
Good evening. I'll try to be brief here. I was just going to share with you, I just got handed to this afternoon the July building permit report. For the month of July, we had 20 new single-family home permits issued, and 4 townhouses that has been issued. Now, there have been overall with residential additions and alterations and decks and pools and commercial signs and the overall trades. We had a total of 48 permits issued through the planning department that was involved with Wake County. That's just single-family homes. The improvement value for those 20 total about $6.4 million. And for the townhomes of those 4 is $650,000 added to the tax base. And that's all I have unless you have some questions. We'll have more in the next agenda with the usual monthly report.
Question, Dana. What's going on with the townhouses by the ABC store? I don't know the
On
name.
Granite, you're talking about Granite Bridge?
Carlton Point.
Carlton Point, they have not made a decision to do any more work at this time. They just got it in a kind of a holding pattern. They've applied mulch out there to stabilize the site, and I haven't heard anything more. I think Kelly's contacted Mr. Silverberg, but I haven't heard anything with any definite plans yet.
Yeah, I talked to him Friday morning, and he said their focus is on the greenways, which you'll see on the 18th. And if that approval is made, they're going to put all the construction effort on those and get those completed before the end of summer. But they have no plans at this stage to start those townhomes until that and other, but he doesn't have a timeline at this stage.
Do we have a sunset clause that we agree to?
Next question.
Yeah.
Used to be 2 years.
I don't know, do we have?
There's not a sunset
work.
clause.
Yeah.
That's a special use permit. It runs indefinitely.
Is that always, or is that something that can be changed?
Anything can be changed, but that's currently the ordinance of the UDO
Of the UDO.
through an amendment process.
Yeah, we talked about doing the sunset clause. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. I think the chief's out there.
Mayor, Commissioners, I know everybody's like, hurry up, we want to go home, right? This is Jose Luis Perez-Apodaca, our newest hire. He's new to municipal law enforcement. He started his career at the Crabtree Valley Police in a private policing position. He's currently a reservist in the United States Marine Corps, and he is fluent in Spanish. And you know you're getting old when they look old enough to be, you look old enough to be their dad. It's good. You're dismissed. Is there anything you want to say to the board prior?
Thank you to allow me to have this opportunity, and I look forward to having my career here in Town Roseville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Perez. Thank you.
Thank you
See
for
you
your
tomorrow.
military service, too.
Thank you.
See, he was here for 2 hours or 5 minutes.
That's all right. That's all right. He was here. That's important. I got a short report. Our police building expansion has been sent to bid and is set for construction in September. I'd like to thank JG and Amy. They've been instrumental in helping me since they, coupled together on the project here at the town hall. As you know, we're fully staffed at this time pending our evidence specialist position, which is currently posted. So we're excited about all the new things happening at the PD and happy just to continue growing a professional police department. Thank you. You're very welcome. Sure.
Okay, was it any other staff members here? Well, I think I don't have anything really to add. I asked you about the EMS. I was kind of wondering where that was at, but other than that, I don't have anything. Any closing comments from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'm almost scared to say this, but did the attorney have a report that I missed?
He
was
gave
good?
one.
Okay, you're good. The one I didn't like. Okay.
He didn't do a report. He did a training session.
Okay, got you.
He tries to ignore that.
Tony,
Right, let's make, Jackie, you want to make that motion? I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
I beat
I
you to
think
it.
Sheila got it first.
Don't matter, as long as it's
Got a
done.
motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll adjourn.
Good meeting.